guess I can tell some stories if you want, or we can have some questions and answers. I just finished shooting the third season of Hit the Floor. It's a show on VH1. It was a lot of fun. And then I was about to start a movie literally next week, a military film, which is why my hair is gone, much to my mother's dismay. And they pushed that to July, so I got this great haircut for nothing. That's the nature of our business. And then you may have seen recently that CBS announced the pickup of Supergirl, which is a lot of fun. And I'm a recurring character on that. I don't know, cat sort of out of the bag. I play Supergirl's father, not her father, her stepfather, if you will, her foster father. And Helen Slater plays her mother, so it's a lot of fun. And that show looks really great. Melissa Benoist looks fantastic as Supergirl. If you've seen the trailers, it looks like a lot of fun. So I'm really looking forward to shooting that this summer and seeing how that turns out in the fall. Got a new movie coming out called Vendetta on June 12th. It's pretty violent and tough. That's what my mom says anyway. Again, my mother. But I had a lot of fun shooting that with, if you're a WWE fan, Big Show is in it. And he's big, and he's about 7 foot. I think he's 435, 440 pounds. And I felt very small. And until today, when I saw that 7'7" guy out there, has anybody seen that guy? Holy smokes. I felt really small. I saw a picture I took with him, and yeah, I'm tiny. I don't even look like I'm 6 feet then. I am 6 feet. I look like I'm about 4'2". Big guy. But it's the second time I've been here in Novi, and for the Comic-Con, and it's a lot of fun. It's a little warm in there. Sorry about that. I didn't do that. But I didn't. No, you did it, Wonder Woman. I'm telling you right now. So I'm very happy to be here, and I don't know how this works here. Do we have? Does anybody have any questions? First of all, because if there's questions, I can certainly answer them, or I can decline to answer them, I suppose. I'm gonna go with the gentleman right back there with the face paint on. I can't. What is it?
No.
I can't say it. Sorry.
No. How was it working on Lifetime when you did Operation Cupcake? Did you enjoy that style, or is it something really new?
I've made a lot of Lifetime movies, and I love those Lifetime movies. Sometimes people pick on me, rarely to my face, but sometimes they pick on me for those. But those are great. You know, I'm a single father. I have a 14-year-old son, and I like to make content that he can watch and he can come to set and visit. And I like some good, strong family messages in some of the films, and so I have a good time with that. That's not the theme in Vendetta, by the way. Full disclosure. But I enjoy making those kinds of films. I did a lot of movies for Lifetime, a lot of movies for Hallmark. Do a lot of kids movies, a lot of little, like little kids movies, because there's still some little kids in my family. And a lot of little Christmas dog movies. People love to pick on me for those, but I love making them. They can pick on me all day long. Come on. Because the kids like them and I enjoy them. And they're a lot of fun. But it's nice to mix it up. It's nice to go and make a $60 million movie. It's nice to make a $300,000 movie. And so the filmmaking has changed so much in the last 25 years or so. Everything is wide open. And I always say work begets work. And make as many projects as you feel like making and play as many characters as you feel like playing. And some of them will hit real well, and some of them might miss a little. I always joke about this. I played Scott Peterson in a film, and I always joke that that's my dating barometer. If a woman says, "Hey, I loved you," and it's Scott Peterson, I'm like, well, we're not going to date. This is not going to work. But it's just fun to play a lot of different characters. I saw someone had their hand up from Superwoman. There she is.
I asked it this Niagara, but I'll ask again. What was your motivation for writing the 2 episodes that you did for Lois and Clark? And 2-parter, what was your relationship with Lane Smith like?
The questions were, well, I wrote 2 episodes of Lois and Clark when we were shooting the series. And when you're shooting a show like that, you're on the set literally 18 hours a day. And it seems like you complain, oh, you poor thing, you're on set. But 18 hours a day, every day, all day long, it gets to be a lot. So instead of just acting, I wanted to write, be more involved in the creative process. Christmas has always been my favorite time of the year, so that's the reason I wrote a Christmas episode, and that was a lot of fun. And then I also really like video games. So some people can cheers, people can hiss at me, but I like video games, I like them a lot. I play it with my son. I'm a bit of a geek, and I embrace that. And so we did a show, Virtually Destroyed, that was sort of inside a virtual reality sort of video game. That was a lot of fun. And, you know, sitting around, I felt like I was doing a lot more by writing episodes of the show, and that was a lot of fun. Lane Smith played Perry White, and Lane was fantastic. He was the veteran actor of the bunch, and if you're familiar with Lane, he passed away a few years ago. Just a wonderful guy. I always try to be a respectful younger actor. Well, of course, I'm not that young anymore, but it depends on with whom I'm working. And be respectful of their experiences and the things they've done. And, you know, if you're smart, you listen. So I tried to listen to Lane a lot, and he taught me a lot of things. And it was amazing. I hadn't been as aware of his career then as I've become afterward, because we were so busy, I suppose. But Lane was a great guy, and my favorite Perry White. You know. And that being said, Terry Hatcher was my favorite Lois Lane, I'll be honest. And of course, my Superman was my favorite Superman. I have to say that. Absolutely. Thank you for the question, family.
You're welcome.
Anybody else have a question? Yes, sir. So Penn Jillette did guest star on Lois and Clark, and at that time I was 27 to like 31 years old, strong, very strong. Penn Jillette weighed at the time I think 270. And I had to hold him, I had to pick him up. As far as him messing with me, he was just so funny. That stuff never. I mean, I love him, so it was just funny to me. But the part I remember most about Penn Jillette was I had to hold him like Lois Lane. And Terry Hatcher weighed about, 87 pounds. And then I got Penn Jillette, and I felt strong. I could put him over my shoulder and, sort of squat him. But to hold him like that, it was the only time in my lifetime, to this day, where I felt the bones in my ankles start to give. They're like, we're not gonna make it. So, Penn's actually slimmed down, so I could probably hold him now. But great guy, I love his magic acts, I love his television shows, he'd tell her, they're fantastic. I don't remember what he said he screwed with me with. Oh no, he didn't do it intentionally, he just was messing up. He was just messing up. You know what, I don't recall specifically. If I said I did, I'd be a liar, and I don't want to be that, especially to him, because he'll call me out. But hello, Penn. I saw someone else had a question back here. Maybe that was, yes, ma'am. What else? Oh yeah, actually my career began as a writer. When I was graduating college, my father's a film director, and while I was in college, he was making one of his most famous films called Young Guns. He directed and produced that film, and all the kids that I grew up with were in the film. Emilio Estevez, Charlie Sheen, all these kids are in the film and having fun, and I'm still in college. Actually, none of them went to college, but I was in college, and they were making the film, and I went out there, and it was a lot of fun to see them do that. I literally forgot what the question was. What was the question? Oh, nothing. I was going to go play professional football afterward, and I started doing that. What my dad kept telling me to do, he said, look, your friends are actors, and these guys are acting, and it's good, but if you write, you can always create your own job. You don't need to be going to set, you don't have to do anything. And I'd always been a very good writer. All my English papers and things, he always said, you should write, you should write, you should write. And then he started challenging me to write. He said, here's an idea for a movie. And he made me write the whole thing in a screenplay form. And this is before final draft or any of you writers out there. That was a long time ago. And so I had to create my own, sort of style sheet and all this stuff. Anyway, I learned the process of screenwriting, and he kept telling me to write. And when I wanted to play professional football, I was going to play professional football during the day and screenwrite at night. And suddenly, football was gone, and so I was just screenwriting. I started doing screenwriting and doing commercials and things. And at the same time, my screenwriting finally broke, where I got hired by Hollywood Pictures as a screenwriter. I also got hired to play Superman. And they were sort of mutually exclusive. I couldn't do both at the same time and make the deadline. So I went with the easy way out. I went with the actor situation, but I've continued to write the entire time. I'm in the middle of writing something now. In fact, I have a deadline and I'm behind on that one, so that's not good. But I like to write all kinds of different movies. I write behind my father on every picture he does still. His ghostwriter. I just enjoy the process a lot. And you'll find a lot of actors tend to be filmmakers all the way around. They'll produce or direct or things of that nature. And it's great fun. It's a great medium. You don't have to choose one or the other. You can be all of the above. So I'll continue to do that for sure. Thank you. Yes, sir. The question was about Chris Kyle, who's an American sniper, Navy SEAL, very good friend of mine. I do a lot of things to support our military, our men and women in uniform, military first responders. Those people, there's a certain thing to being in the military or being in law enforcement or being an EMT or some things like that. They're amazing people, and they're a certain breed, and you often don't appreciate them the way you should until you need them, and then you really appreciate them. And my grandfather was a commander in the Navy. I was born right here at Selfridge Air Force Base. He was stationed up in Mount Clemens at the time. My uncle was a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force. He won the Reisner Award, top fighter pilot in the U.S. Air Force in '81. And so I have a long history of family in the military. If I didn't become a football player, I very easily could have gone into the military, just because of the wonderful work that they do. Yeah, there's some atrocities, some bad things that happen, but if you don't travel outside the United States much, if you don't get in those situations, you don't realize how well we have it here, how your Bill of Rights, your freedoms, and the protections you have, they're unlike any other place in the world. So I know who gives us those freedoms, and I thank him for it. And thank you for anybody out here who is a veteran or is part of the show I did was called Stars Earned Stripes, and I had read Chris Kyle's book, American Sniper, beforehand. This is far before it became a film. It was already purchased by Bradley Cooper, his company. He was going to make it. Chris told me that. But I read the book, and I signed up to do this show. We competed in military training exercises with live fire and live weapons and jumping out of helicopters and rappelling. A lot of things. The live fire I was okay with. It was the jumping out of helicopters and rappelling I didn't like at all. And neither did Chris, which was really funny. But you do those things. You do it because you have to, and you get trained. And it was a lot of fun. And to be able to, he was a hero of mine. I mean, he really was. But the things he had gone through, to be in that life and death situation so many times, he had become a hero. And then to meet him in the flesh, you know, you realize he's a flesh and bone person, but so humble, so funny. You know, I don't want to get too political on people. When somebody like Jesse Ventura says that those things didn't happen and he was a liar and fraud, if Jesse Ventura was in here right now, I'd knock him on his ass. I'm sorry. And that's an invitation. So that's tough. It's hard. It's hard. But he was a hero to me, and I mourn his death horribly. And Taya and his family, and I'm still in touch with them quite a bit, and that whole SEAL community. They're amazing warriors. Thank you for the question. Yes, ma'am.
When you started Superman, was there any pressure to live up to the image that was recreated? And if so, how long did it take you to get over?
What was that guy's name? No, I'm kidding. She said when I started Superman, was there pressure to live up to Christopher Reeve and the image he created? Christopher Reeve was my Superman, no question. And he's still to this day, when I think of Superman, I think of Christopher Reeve. Because he really was. He was an amazing guy. And people said that his story was a tragic story and the things that happened to him. I have to kind of argue the opposite and say it was a story of amazing triumph, because what he did and the way he reacted to such a tough situation was incredible. Wow. All right. I didn't see her before. That's cool. Thank you.
It was next door.
All right.
It's only one of me.
Thank you. So Christopher Reeve was my Superman, and fortunately, the way that Deborah Joy Levine, who created Lois and Clark, she designed the script and did things. It was different. It was a completely different incarnation. Clark Kent character was the main character, and he was much more like the George Reeves character. from the earlier Superman series. And the Superman character, for me, I had to play it like Christopher Reeve. I have to admit, I completely liberally sort of stole from him because that was my image of Superman. So that's kind of the way I played it. I played Clark Kent like George Reeves, and then I played Superman like Christopher Reeve, and of course I wasn't so good at doing either one, so it became my own. But that's it. I didn't feel, pardon me? Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. I really enjoyed it. It was an amazing role to be a part of, to sort of start my career with, and I embrace it. You know, people say, well, do they get mad when they call you Superman? Somebody, you're walking along the street, they're like, hey, it's Superman. I'm like, yeah, that's just terrible. That's awful. It hurts my feelings, you know? I don't like hearing the Scott Peterson thing. I'll hear Superman all day long. So it's a great character, and I embrace being part of the lore, and that's why it's fun to go and play Supergirl's foster father. You know, that's a lot of fun, and it was fun to go in Smallville and fight Tom Welling. I have to tell one Tom Welling story. I've told this before, but so we're shooting the show and we're doing things, and get to the finale where he has to come in and save the day. And we all had to move very slowly because he was going to super speed through things and get over to this, I don't know, this electrical panel or something. And so we're rehearsing, and he's cruising through and going, shh. I was like, Tom, we don't make sound effects, man. Come on. It was rehearsal. He was just a lot of fun, and those guys had it down to a science. They did 10 years on that show, and they did a great job. So that was a lot of fun to play that character as well. But I love being part of that whole world. And now, what about DC Comics and television? They're killing it right now. It's great. It's a lot of fun to watch. Arrow and Flash and now Supergirl. It's a lot of fun. There's another one. What's the new one? Well, there's Gotham. That's which is also, it's a little darker. But there's a new one coming out. Legends of Tomorrow. That's it. I'm excited. It's fun. There's also an animated thing called DC Girls that I'm now voicing Jonathan Kent on as well. Why do I have to be the dad already? Anybody else have any questions? Oh, yes, I'm sorry. The young man first. What is my favorite video game? All right, you won't tell anybody? Okay. My favorite video game is World of Warcraft. I waste copious amounts of time on World of Warcraft. My son got me into it, and we actually used it as a way to communicate when I go away to shoot a film or something. I'd be gone for like a month in Bulgaria, and he's back in Los Angeles, and I would get up early or go to bed late, whatever it happened to be, so that when he woke up, I could play online with him for about an hour and talk to him. Otherwise, you know, as a parent, you get those phone calls. Hey, how you doing, buddy? Good. What's going on? Anything fun going on? No? All right. Nice talking to you. So so it was a lot of fun to interact with him for an hour. Thank you. But I see a lot of parents going, yeah, that's the same conversation I have. And it's a lot of fun. So we really, and it's your fault, young man. We have a lot of fun doing that now. He's playing Call of Duty these days, and he's getting very good at it. Editing videos and posting them. So it's a lot of fun to see that. But that is definitely my favorite video game. Yes, ma'am.
So you were a history major in college. What attracted you to history? And if you could actually go back and go to college again, would you choose that same major or would you do something better?
That's a good question. I like that question. Don't get that question often. I was a history major in college. She asked me what attracted me to that major, and if I were to go back to college, would I major in the same thing? I'm tempted to make a bunch of snarky answers right now. I was a history major because when I got to college, I didn't really know what I wanted to study. I was trying to figure out exactly what it was, and college is a good time to do that, and sort of figure it out. It's a great time to grow up and make stupid collegiate mistakes. By the way, this is pre-Twitter and Instagram, so none of my history is out there. Thank you very much. History to me, I always was an English major, but I didn't want to dissect every word in the language and this and that. It sometimes started to feel sanitary to me. One of my favorite writers is Hemingway. And he says, you know, the man cried. And I get it, you know, and I know because it comes after all this whole description pages about the man crying. And I could have gotten it in 3 words. And so it was a different style. So English didn't really do it for me. I certainly wasn't a math major, wasn't going to be that, or engineering. But stories, I love stories, and history is just a great story. And if you can study history and you learn why, not so much the dates and this happened, this, that's not what it's about. It's about cause and effect. What happened here? What made everything change here that everyone decided to do this, and what caused this war? So that's what interests me. So I wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't change it at all. I would still be a history major. And I would, the funny thing is, now, if I went to college, I'd pay a lot more attention in class because it's more interesting to me. Then, when you're in college, you're just trying to get through the classes, I suppose, and sometimes you find something really interesting. So I live really close to Pepperdine University, so I'm going to go in there and start auditing some of their classes, I suppose. I have to. Now I want to learn. College is wasted on the young. Sociology. That's complicated. People are complicated.